So I started cleaning today. And oh my god, it's so gross. And there's so much to do. And yeah, I started cleaning and then my arms started getting tired. So, just gonna have to do a little each day until I get it taken care of. Because there's just a lot. I've been smoking in the house for the last couple of years. Well, I mean, I've always smoked in the house, like, on and off, but, like, I keep the door open because it's just gross. Hopefully, come the winter, I won't be smoking anymore, especially once I start working full time. Also, I did reach the conclusion that I technically do have narcolepsy, but it's not a problem. It's not like an autoimmune disorder. Like the cataplexy, I don't know where I got that information from, but I know if I read it and read it like I did, that it was right. And it had something to do with a disability website. And it definitely said that pretty much narcolepsy type 1 is part of like an autoimmune, or not autoimmune, it is autoimmune, but the cataplexy is part of epilepsy. And it very much was like anything that I've seen about narcolepsy, it says it's brought on by strong emotion. And mine was brought on from the gabapentin. Like, I had a normal shaky seizure, and then I started taking the gabapentin, and a couple days later, I had the cataplexy episode, which is like an atonic. And I wasn't like any more upset than I normally have. I've never had anything like that happen. So, but the thing is when that happened, I got to thinking, and I have, ooh, scared me. I have always had sleep problems. Like I've always like I definitely have sleep problems. Um, so that's the thing. But it's also I've also always fixed it by like my sleep schedule's messed up right now. So of course I'm like, oh, I can do that myself, like, and tone it down to where like I can sleep more than normal, to where I stay kind of tired. Like that's how the body works. Is you can do that to like when you're more of like a habitating state, like throughout the winter, like people like hibernating and stuff. Like that's something that the body does. So it's not necessarily a disorder, and I'm not having seizures or cataplexy episodes, so it's not a problem. But technically, I mean, like it is, but like I personally can't take um, what is that medication? Stimulants. Like I can't take stimulant medications to stay awake. Like that's not a thing. I just have to like bear it until it gets nighttime, and then go to sleep and wake up and do that after a couple days, and it won't be as big a problem if I want to fix it. If not, just sleep all the time. Whatever. I was thinking today about being single. I remember in high school, like, I asked my dad, and I used to do this because, like, he wouldn't really talk to me a whole lot. One of my nails was longer than the other hand. Anyways, there's a lot going on my phone. I remember I asked my dad, I was like, Dad, like, I was just walking through the house, and he was standing in the living room or something. I was like, why don't guys like me? He's like, because they're afraid of you. I was like, oh, the ways we lie. But I was really confused because I couldn't understand um, like why he wouldn't talk, like why he couldn't talk to us, like why he wouldn't talk to us and stuff. I now know it was because he was bipolar. Um, which is really sad. And he was disabled due to depression. I don't think he knew that. Like, I don't think he knew that about himself. But he would have been he would have suffered from hypomania. Thinking about it, I've realized that in the last couple of years, as much thinking about stuff and measuring as I've done, that he would have been bipolar 2, is what it's called. And that's where you don't have full mania episodes, but you still oscillate between depression and mania. And a lot of, one of the big symptoms of it is, you have a hard time paying attention. You get really lost in thoughts a lot. And that's kind of going back and forth. Like, the lost in thoughts can be part of the depression, and the not paying attention part will be like the mania part. And so, a lot of times I would throw stuff out, just to check him to see, and I remember one time, like I said, asking him, why don't guys like me? He's like, because they're afraid of you, and I was like, because I probably had, I've never had a problem, if I'm in that environment, and I'm not, obviously, always, and also, oftentimes, I'm busy, I'll be talking to somebody or something, there's been times that, I've met somebody and I liked them a whole lot, but I was still doing something else, or had just started, talking to somebody else, busy, not, I am single, but, and was single, but, I'm not a person to be I'm gonna go on a date with this person on Friday, and then, go out on a date with this person Saturday, if, because people are a little bit more complicated than that. Usually people aren't, I've never had anybody, just straight up, it's been very far and few between that anybody has ever been, anything in my life has ever been that simple. So, it's usually a matter of, the first time I start talking to someone, they want to have, a conversation about something. And so, it usually, it's well, that information is really important in another aspect of my life. So, that's my whole attention span. Or, someone's, doing something that is, kind of, not worrisome or bothersome, but, there's a red flag. Or a flag, and not necessarily red flag, because red flags you're just, walk away from. But, it is oh, what's going on? Kind of thing. Or someone's trying to get my attention, I'm trying to figure out how to, connect with them, It's meeting aspects of yourself, and so pretty much the world is an oyster for me when it comes to meeting aspects of myself, because, I am very easily gaslit. um, because I um, pick up on patterns. Like, it's not on purpose, but it still is one of life's mysteries that, like, I will pick up on patterns with people, and I'm like, it bothers me. Something will bother me, and I want a little bit more information, because it always hits like, it's like a door being shut in your face or something. And so I'm like, okay, so I gotta you know, obviously most people have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to that. They have no idea what they've done. They don't understand how perceptive I am. Um, you know, and of course my patience is, it's endless as the ocean. So I have to just sit and work on that level of you know, with my patients and stuff to figure something out. But when a relationship is a two-way street, if there's not, if communication breaks down, you know, um, it's either like, let me go, or, you know, give me some feedback. And any feedback is feedback. Like that, feedback is feedback. Um, so, like my last semi-relationship, this is the last couple relationships, the last two, yeah, the last two relationships that I've had lasted, both of them were like a week. And then I ended, does the last 10 years of my life. Both of them lasted a week. But, the first one, it took 7 years to get him to finally let go. Because he could not, because his ADHD and shit, and he is such an asshole that he just could not comprehend. So he would just attack, like, tried to kill me. And I'm like, look, trying to, teach him about feedback and stuff. And it's like, you just say something, quit being so scared, And it's like, I'm not going anywhere, and, a whole back and forth thing, and so literally we had, I think maybe 2 weeks, that one, I think that maybe lasted, yeah, about 2 or 3 weeks, because it was in January is when it started. We started talking in December, and, then that lasted for 7 years. And so then the next one, he, it lasted a week. And, then that lasted 3 years. And, it was a matter of getting him to let go, and both of these people have relationships. Both of these people have girlfriends and have they're like, oh, we're not together. And I'm like, 10 years later, they're still together. They've been together, for like that first one has been with the same girl. He's got a kid with her. They've been close friends for 15 years. And the next person has been has been friends with that girl for 20 years. I don't have anybody like that. There is no guy that I have ever been with, especially that I've ever lived or had kids with or anything like that, that I've known that long. Any guys that I know have known that long, I have not been intimate with. I've never had any kind of lived-in situation with a guy that I've dated that was an actual boyfriend. I did date somebody one time that I lived with, but like he is with his wife and stuff like before and after and whatnot. So, and we weren't good friends. Like, there was no relationship or anything like what I'm talking about, say, in these two situations, which those people, as I'm still explaining, were not my boyfriends. Like, they never, like, they gave up that quickly. And so, but it was a matter of like them kept coming back and kept coming back and kept coming back, you know. And then I had one relationship with a friend that was a good one, that we were just, you know, he did live with me actually, but afterwards, like, we haven't really talked. Like, I've helped them, like, he's remarried, or yeah, he's married now, and like, I've helped them out in a situation one time, as I'm friends with them, but not like me and him don't talk. So couldn't be any more like normal, healthy situation there. And with that, he was not. I was the one that kind of pursued him, so it wasn't a thing like he came at me, so there wasn't any like attachment like that. Man, I'm tired, and I don't know why. Like, I got a bunch of sleep last night and this early this morning, so it's like my antidepressant just kicked in or something for the first time in a week, which kind of makes me a little tired. That's what it feels like. I might have to start taking it at night. Because, oh my goodness. So, I can tell when people get upset. I can tell when I trigger people. Usually people are attracted to people that are trigger them in some way. I don't really get like that. But I notice it like when other people are. Not saying that somebody might not still be attracted to you, but like you, like, there's like different levels of, you know, it's like when there's some toxic, weird energy going on, instead of it stuff being straightforward, it's like, okay, somebody's triggered, and life doesn't wait for that kind of stuff, unfortunately. So, but yeah, thought about that a couple times. My dad, him saying that, I was just like, that's not true. Still to this day, I'm like, that's not true. Like, guys are not afraid of me. They just, you know, like, that's never been a thing. I've never had a lack of people being attracted to me. It's a matter of whether my attention is there or not. And also, like, you know, people, nice people that you would want to date, like, aren't, you know, gonna, like, be like, hey, 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 you know, unless they know you. And, you know, there definitely has been times and situations that I've needed that. Like, in the last couple years, you know. I've had a couple people be like, hey, you know, and like, I'm like, whoa, you know, and it was appreciated because, I really did need, my attention diverted, and like, like that's a really important thing when someone comes out of the blue and, you know, shakes you a little bit when you're all alone, you know, in the situation I've been in. I can't really say much for other people in their lives. You know, most of the time that isn't like, you know, all that positive of a thing for people to be shaken up. But like I said, at the end of the day, when I put myself in that situation, it usually is a situation where I'm like, I don't have enough information. I'm like losing my shit. I'm being gaslit, is what it is, you know, and or somebody is being gaslit. Somebody else is being gaslit, and so like have to just kind of be like, you know, take them by the shoulders and shake them, kind of thing. I love some people very, 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 very much. I love my friends very, very, very much. Um, they wouldn't be my friends, you know, if I don't love them. I would do that for any of them if I was in the position to be able to do that. And I happen to be single right now, so, you know, if I had one of my friends, you know, confront me with something like that, you know, I would do the best I could in order to, and I think my friends are the same way, you know. But, it's a matter of, time and place, you know. I'm not one to reach out to people who are in a relationship, and at the same time, it's like you gotta get, sometimes people gotta wake me up. like I said, in the last couple of years, like I had somebody doing a lot of activity on my Facebook page during the summer, and it really, towards the end of the summer, and it really gave me the oomph to, like, to keep going, to keep trying, and to figure, you know, stuff out and stuff. However, you know, I would very much like to be in a normal, loving, caring relationship. Like, I think I deserve that. You know, I've, you know, never had one single complaint from anybody I've ever dated. You know, I've never gotten less than a 100. So, that, you know, they, you know, never been told that I wasn't a good woman, unfortunately, which is like, you know, because not everybody's looking for a good woman, so it can be kind of painful sometimes, but extremely, extremely painful. You know, everybody was looking for different things, and, you know, you don't really know, you know, what that is unless somebody tells you that, and not everybody is so forward, and not everybody knows themselves. Shit, not everybody knows what they're looking for, so, you know, who knows, but, and then some people just make shit up, or just looking for shit, or something to do, so, but, you know, I am a partner person. I would very much like to be in a relationship, you know. I would very much like to get married, you know, those kind of things. I have a lot to offer, you know, unfortunately. I'm intelligent, I'm thoughtful, I'm creative, and also know time and place. So, you know, also can debug. Like that's part of knowing time and place. So, but, I think everybody can. That's also a thing. It's just a matter of, has everybody been in that situation where they know that about themselves? Um, not everybody has, an extensive dating history. Not everybody has had a complicated dating history like I have. I had a lot of, I'm a really simple person, but my family couldn't be any more complicated than my family, and holding it together than it was as my family was growing up. Like, the fine print does not even begin to even tell. Like, there's so much going on. There's still so much going on. It's a matter of baseball. Like, just stand there and hold the damn bat, and you got all these balls flying at you. So, fun times. My dad used to give me books to read. And I haven't had a relationship like that since my dad. Like, I have not had, like, besides anybody, like, besides my family and stuff. Like, I've asked for books and whatnot. Like, I did have one guy friend that gave me a couple books and stuff. But it wasn't anything like, I know you would like this, or like, there was no conversation about it. There was like, I had a friend the other day was like, one of the reasons people don't like me and stuff, like, or like want to talk to me a lot and stuff, because I talk too much about stuff that I like and blah blah. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. And someone told him that I didn't like him because he talked too much about himself and stuff. I was like, that makes absolutely no sense. Like, I was like, I like when my friends talk about themselves. Like, how am I gonna, go back and forth? That's part of a conversation. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But I am just as okay with, someone wanting, like, being my friend and not talking about themselves all the time. After a while, like, it would be kind of weird, but, like, I have a sister that doesn't talk or walk, so, like, like, I understand both ends of the spectrum, but, like, that is a thing. Like I just said, I have a sister that doesn't speak, that doesn't communicate. She's communicated a couple times during her life and stuff, but I very much want to live and have a life and have people around me that, want to talk and stuff like that, So, like, there is no part of, like, that bothers me or anything. But people do get upset, of course, too, when, like, you may not, be on the same page as them at the same day, on the same day. And that's part of life. But, I'm a normal person. Like, I like to talk about stuff, and I also, like to not talk about stuff. So, I like to work. I like to create. I like to take care of my business. I like to have business. I need time to think just as much as the next person does. my dad used to garden, and like I could listen to him talk for hours and hours and hours about the garden, and he would show us, like, go take us around, the yard and be like, look what I got today, and tell us about the plant, where he got it from, and what it needs, and what he's doing, and all that stuff. And I could do the same, like I would draw something, or, like, and sit down and talk for as long as I needed to and explain. And he would ask me questions and give me suggestions. Sometimes we would fight about it. Sometimes he would applaud me. Like, it was a full relationship. Like, you never knew. Like, it was like, depending on the input that came in, it was very much alive. It wasn't, sometimes in my adult life I have found that, people are just kind of following along. So it's like sometimes people don't actually exist. And that's a weird thing. When people aren't actually present. What it really is that people have their minds made up about something, and they have ulterior motives. Like, I talked to a guy about a month ago, and like, I had to kind of be like, rush him a little bit, because like I could tell that he was the best way I could describe it is 2D, and what that boils down to is he had ulterior motives. Like, there was something particular that he wanted to do, something that he had an interest in. He was trying to find somebody to do it with. I used to say, back before, I had the shit beat out of me in the last couple of years for my health. Like, it used to be a thing. I'd be like, you're not single. And they're like, yes, I am. And I'm like, no, you're not. Like, you say you are, but you're not. I'm like, there's definitely something going on. And sure enough, he did actually come out and be like, whether this is true or not, who knows, but he did actually, the last thing he told me was that, we were going to stop talking because he had reconnected with somebody that, he, someone very special and whatnot. And, I was like, okay, which, that's great. If I'm not what you're looking for, then thank you for telling me. That is awesome. But, it was, like, I really appreciated the conversation and stuff. Like, he definitely, got my, I need all the practice I can get. Right now we're talking, and not having a lot going on, because I have stuff that I need to do, and that are personal to me, and things that I need to take care of, and I need to make sure I can do that. So I need to be able to think clearly, and yeah, it's really important. It's really important for people that care about to be able to think clearly too. Like, it scares me that, with my grandparents and stuff, like, and the dementia thing, but like, that's not something I can really deep dive into, because I've got a lot of stuff that I also have to take care of. So, you know, where I really deep dived into my own, like, health problems and stuff, and reading and all that, like, how all of that works. Like, dementia is just not something that I can, you know, like, old age and whatnot, you know, that is not something my 40-year-old brain can handle right now. I need to be finding and thinking about myself. So, and they're, you know, the ones who, you know, taught me that, like my family. So, yeah, that's got to be a thing. Oh, oh, I'm staying so freaking tired today. It's crazy. I'm trying to get woke up, and it is getting a little colder. I think that's some of it. Um, but yeah, I have. It's been a very, very, very long time since I've had, like, just the peacefulness that I am experiencing right now with friendships, and my communication is what it is, because that's kind of my own thing. Because, like, I would get, like, really confused and have this problem, have that problem, and so I just, like, that's what really made me take my own health into my hands and stuff and shut down, is because I couldn't communicate clear enough to anybody, in order to, you know, it's like when you're arguing with somebody in the middle of, like, a, you know, a couple month argument, and then all of a sudden you need something, you can't really break it to be like, hey, will you help me with this? It's like you can't communicate. So, you know, I was really stuck out on my own. So I don't like just sitting in a weird argument place with somebody. Like, it was very reminiscent of what I've been through in the last couple of years and how I got there. So, you know, if I ever meet somebody again and, like, after a week, you know, shit goes down, you know, that whole power balance thing, that'll never happen again to me in my life. Like, that was not good, at all. You know, I know how it happened in both times. You know, the past couple months I've been coming out of a health problem, so that was reminiscent of what happened in those two relationships in the last 10 years, the same situation. So, you know, this toxic, and it's like, you know, you have to pretty much, like, shake somebody, you know, to be like, oh, let me go. So, you know, it's like, you know, I try to tell those people those things, you know, and I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. You know, when I say let me go, I mean, like, you know, like I said, give me some kind of feedback, like, you know, anything. Like, I used to tell one of them, I think, I was like, you know, tell me you love me, tell me to fuck off, something, like, so, I am glad to be on the other side of those things. I do not, you know, want to, like, even be friends with those people or anything like that. Like, it was so troublesome. Um, any kind of friendship I have in today's land, or relationship or anything, you know, is not going anywhere. You know, I love my friends very much, and the people that are special to me are special to me in their own ways and stuff. You know, my friends matter a whole lot. Honesty also matters a whole lot to me. And like I said, I am really sensitive to when there's some kind of weird situation going on. I can't help but untie knots if someone ties me in. So that's what I was thinking about today. I miss my dad. I miss my mom very much. I hope she's having a good day. I hope the rest of my family is doing good today. All right.